What's up, guys? So Konami have released a few new cards, and we actually know what's gonna come on Monday, or at least we're 90% sure. So I'm gonna kind of go through a few of the new cards like Scholes, tell you if he's worth it, Mbappe in the summer transfers training guide, and then I'll talk about the three cards that are supposed to come on Monday. But at the moment, we actually have free reset. So if you reset your player at the moment, it's going to be free for a limited time only. But they did announce in eFootball 25 that it will be free all the time. So people are wondering how long is this limited time only. I'm 99% sure it's going to be until the release of eFootball 25. And the reason for that is because they usually give us the date when free reset ends. They haven't this time. And I assume the reason is if they want to make free reset just free all the time without having to kind of adjust it and update the dates, it probably takes a little bit of work. So they've just kind of did a band-aid fix the moment, and then when eFootball 25 comes out and the maintenance goes down for that, they'll kind of go back in at the root level and make free reset free all the time. And we got a Paul Scholes card, so similar to the Michael Owen card we got this time last year. Only 50 players in the pack, but it is only one legend. So I'm going to go look at his builds now and let you know if I think he is worth it. So for Scholes, I have three builds. You can see he's kind of a really good player. He's like Iniesta, but a bit less on dribbling and more into shooting. I used a previous Scholes version and he was very, very good, very strong. So if you want to check out the review on that, it'll be on the screen now. So the three builds are this. So the first two are very similar. You can see here we just got a little bit less dexterity on the second one, and kind of to compensate for that, we get 95 finishing. I really don't think you can go wrong with either build. I would probably lean towards this build just because it makes him a bit better of a dribbler, more acceleration and more balance. Now, if you want to play him in, that's for attacking midfielder. If you want to play him in centre mid, you might want to put a bit more defensive on him, so there's a bit more defensive stats. But realistically, it actually looks pretty identical to the. It's pretty much identical to the first build, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same as the first build, attacking wise, except it's a little bit slower, but we got the more defensive stats. So this is probably the most well-rounded build. If you're looking for the skills to put on Scholes, put double touch, track back, interception, cut behind turn, gamesmanship, and acrobatic finishing. So there's 6 skills there. So depending on if you're going to play him AMF or CMF, you would choose between interception and then maybe gamesmanship or acrobatic finishing. So do I think the pack is worth it? I think if you're a Manchester United fan, definitely go for it. If you need a attacking midfielder, he's not a bad option, to be honest. He is very nimble and he's got very good finishing from his previous card that was very similar. So I don't think you can go too wrong with it. Overall, I don't think it's a must buy though. So we also have a Mbappe card from Summer Transfer. So I've identified 3 cards from this pack that I think are worth leveling up and putting skills on. I think if you don't get any of these 3 guys, I wouldn't really bother. So for Mbappe, he looks very good. He's got great stats all around, great dribbling, balance, acceleration, finishing. For the skills on Mbappe, I would put true passing, one touch pass, heel trick, Marseille turn. Now there's more than 5 skills here you're gonna have to pick. Long range shooting and cut behind and turn. So usually I don't recommend one touch pass on strikers, but I just think there's not much else to put on this guy. I usually recommend rising shot on Mbappe for the kind of special cards, but for the free ones I don't, because if you can see his kicking power is quite low there. Rising shot is very effective when you have both good kicking power and finishing. He doesn't have the kicking power, so I wouldn't really put rising shot on him. And also remember, we have free reset, so if you have a different version of Mbappe, you can keep the other one and maybe build this one like this with 95 finishing, and then you can kind of that way have a dribbling Mbappe and a finishing Mbappe at the same time. Next player is Onana. This guy is like a GP player that people keep recommending to me, and he does look very good. Stats wise, his skills are a bit lacking, unfortunately, but I don't think it's a major issue just because of kind of how tall he is, and he has got the great defensive stats, and he's very fast for an anchorman. I don't really think you need pace in anchorman, but it would be good to have this guy and try it out. So for the skills I'd put on him, I'd first put true passing just to make him more comfortable on the ball, and then track back. Track back just makes all players pretty much better defensively, so it's definitely needed on your DMF. Now I would put acrobatic clearance on this guy just because of his height, and he already has aerial superiority. So if you want to put deep line on him, when you put deep line on a DMF, they essentially just play as a centre back when you don't have the ball. So to have acrobatic clearance alongside aerial superiority, he'll effectively be a centre back. Then you can also go for a blocker and fighting spirit. The fighting spirit is just going to help him kind of fight for the badge a bit more and get more involved in tackles. And then the next player is Douglas Luiz. Now I've used a different version of this guy and he's really good. So if we put a boost on him there, you can see his stats. He's a very, very well-rounded centre midfielder, box to box, kind of the perfect stats for it. The skills that I'd put on Douglas Luiz are double touch, flip flap. He already has soul control. You can see step on skill there. That's going to give him the level 3 double touch. He'll do the Neymar ball roll. Then I go for track back, as I said about Onana, make him better defensively. Interception, unfortunately, he doesn't have interception, so he's going to be a little bit disappointing until you get interception on him. And then that's leaves us with one skill left, so you can probably go for cut behind and turn. I like it on my midfielders, allows you to switch the play very easily. Okay, so the packs on Monday, it looks like we're going to get in Czech, Mateus, and Maldini. So if we look at Czech, this is the Czech I have. He's the best keeper in the game, and the new Czech is very similar to him. He's got one more, a goalkeeper awareness, the same catching, better parrying. Oh, that's the wrong way. The reflexes are 83 and the reach 81 on the new one versus 82 and 79 on the old one. So the new one does look a lot better. Starting off, we don't know the booster yet, and we also don't know the levels, which is more important. This Czech has 30 levels, whereas this one, legends are anywhere usually between 27 and like 35 levels. So if Konami release this guy and they give him 27 levels, I think I wouldn't know the maths off the top of my head, but the old one might be better or the same. But if they give this one at least 30 levels, it'll be better than the old Czech, and I think Czech, like I said, is the best keeper in the game. So it's definitely looking like this pack's going to be good off the start. And then if we go on to the next player, another player who I think is probably the best centre midfielder in the game is Mateus. So this Mateus is a orchestrator against the box-to-box on this one. I love orchestrator playstyle, but I do think Mateus is the best as a box-to-box just because of how quick he is and just well-rounded. He's good at defending, dribbling, etc., etc. So if we look at the card, you can see that Konami are making this one a little bit less effective defensively, but it does get a little bit more passing and quite a bit more dribbling. Now, I don't think that's going to be important because if you watch my streams, you know, I did a build with this Mateus with 90 dribbling and I didn't really dribble well with him. Then I lowered his dribbling and increased the speed and acceleration to get the higher balance. And once I got the high balance, the dribbling, it felt the exact same, but I had freed up points that were put into dribbling. I could put them elsewhere. So I think for centre midfielders, it's more the dribbling and the acceleration that are going to be more important for the type of dribbling you do. So I don't think the increased dribbling on this orchestrator Mateus is going to make him improve or the different stats. So the kind of verdict so far is going to be that stats-wise, the old Mateus is probably better, and playstyle-wise probably too, unless you particularly want an orchestrator. And then the last player is Maldini. So this one is a defensive fullback, whereas the other Maldinis are a destroyer, which is interesting because if you play a defensive fullback at centre back, they effectively just act like a build up. So effectively, you've got build up Maldini here. You can play centre back, and also this one is going to have Fortress. Assuming it does come on Monday, the leaks are saying it, and they're usually accurate. So it looks like he's coming on Monday. He does look good. His dribbling's a bit better, which I like on my centre backs. I think it's a very important stat. But importantly, this one has higher aggression, whereas this one has only 76 versus the 80 on the old booster Maldini. So I think you are going to notice that unless if you look at the boost on this Maldini, it doesn't give the boost to aggression, whereas we don't know our boost on this Maldini yet. So if it is a boost to aggression, it'll kind of normalize it and equalize it. Obviously then the tackling and stuff will be higher on the old one. But I do think aggression is one of the most important stats for defenders. So I think this could be a little bit less better defensively, but overall I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. So I do think this pack is going to be very, very good. The best pack we've had in a while. I never really recommend spinning for packs, or not very often anyway. Like, it's been a while since I've recommended a pack. Probably the Maradona Pirlo one was the last one I recommended. I do recommend this pack. If you don't have any of the players, I do think this is a very good pack to buy. If you just have one of the players, I still think it'll be good value. Personally, I have two of the players. I already have Mateus and Czech. I do think my Mateus is also going to be better than the new one. So I'm not going to spin, even though I did want the Maldini. I'm going to have to skip this time around.